Hi guys, and welcome to this little kind of it's going to be a mix of a review and of a slight rant, because I'm just, I don't know, I'm getting more and more disappointed to a certain extent with what is happening with this hobby, with this hobby that I enjoy and I thoroughly want to carry on enjoying. Anyway, let me explain what I'm trying to say about all this. As some of you know, QKZ is a budget company that got into the map a few years ago. Excuse me, with a product which was the VK4. It was a product which, at the price point that it had, which was around $10, give or take, it just had a tuning which was not common. It had a tuning that many, even Clinical, for example, is probably the most well-known person. Even Clinical considered it to be a go-to under $50. It was like a no-brainer. Its only flaw or its only problem was the fact that it was plagued by terrible quality control issues, which is something which is across the board with a lot of chi-fi companies, unfortunately, and I don't know, I just don't understand. And it has nothing to do with being a cheap company or an expensive company. I think one of the very few companies that actually has maintained, to my surprise, a pretty decent quality control. And I say this because I have this tendency of buying multiple products when the product is within a certain price range, buying multiple to actually ascertain that quality control. But one of those brands is KZ, and KZ and CCA, I have to admit, especially over the last year, with all the products that they've launched, the EDX, the EDX Pro, the CRA, the ZX, the ZX Pro, the CRN, all of those, they've actually got very good quality control, and I can confirm this because I've bought multiple sets and I've measured them, and the channel imbalance is almost it's more than acceptable when we're considering the price and so on and so forth. But anyway, back to what we are talking about, which is QKZ. So a couple of months ago, QKZ decided to relaunch a version 2 of the venerable VK4, which I did a small review on. And I mean, what was wrong? What were they thinking? That is my question. What were they thinking? Did they think that they could launch a product which was of inferior quality, and that we would all just oh wow, no, they've launched a new VK4, let's all go and get that one because it's better than the old one? Well, before I actually show you all the graphs that I've got here for you, let me just quickly show you what I mean by what I just said. Just 1 second, sorry, my apologies. So open QKZ, there we go. Okay, so QKZ, this is the new version, and open, and this is the original version. Okay, so now let's just look at these graphs here. Sorry, there we go, all right. So the orange line is the original VK4, and as you can see, it had a really decent tuning. Kind of had a harmonish feel to it, nice sub bass focus, good transition into the mid bass, excellent transition into the mids, decent pinna gain, not excessive, everything very smooth. There's a peak there at 8K, which is basically coupler related, and then it rolled off. But the reality was this, and it took me 6 sets to get a set which was perfect. When you do get that perfect set, the sound it has for the $10 that it costs, and that particular one cost me $8 actually, is amazing. That is a reality, and we must always take things into the consideration or into the context of it's an $8 set, and when it is able to play in the way that it plays, it can play, is absolutely unreal. Of more recent days, the set that immediately jumps to mind as being equally amazing and of far superior quality even is the CCA CRA. Absolutely unreal, undeniably, and without margin of a doubt, a no-brainer set. Just get one for $15. You just can't go wrong. It is unquestionably one of the best sets under $100. I'm not going to say it's going to beat an Aria. I'm not going to say that it's going to beat a T3 Plus. I'm not going to say it's going to beat a HD Soundheart Mirror. Or what I am going to say is that it plays so good that it does deserve a place as one of the best sets under $100. Period. And if you don't believe me, just go buy. Just, you know, it's McDonald's money. Go buy a set and listen to it. It is really that good. Anyway, VK4 was that, and it was amazing. So they launched the 2021 version, the green line. And what is that? I mean, come on, people. You are supposed to improve on your products, not regress, not go back and launch a worse product. So they launched an IM which is all bloated in the mid bass. It has all those peaks, and what is this? Seriously, I mean, the disappointment that I got, and on top of the disappointment, the fact that both sets that I got had huge channel imbalances was so great that I just, to be honest, I threw them away. Okay, so we come to today's or to the topic or the reason of this test or the review or whatever you want to call it. Let me just put everything on here. Okay, so and take away. Oh, actually, I'm actually going to leave it there. You know what? I'm actually going to leave number 21 there because it makes sense leaving number 21. Number 21. No, number 21 we take away. Number 20. Okay. All right. This is the reason for today's topic, or like I said, review. So then QKZ, a couple of weeks later, they went and they launched all of these IEMs. They launched the ZAX2, here it is, all nice and pretty and reminiscent of some other QKZ products. The ZXT, again, all nice and pretty and basically the same shell, just a different faceplate. And the ZX3, again, same shell, reminiscent of the EDX Pro kind of a feel to it. And the ZXD, which kind of has a ZAS feel to it. So they went and launched all of these products. Now, my question to QKZ and to the people behind QKZ is, was this done on purpose? Was this an intention to launch all of these products, all single DDs, all sharing the same DD, all sharing the same shell, just different faceplates, and actually have us believe that they're all different, that they all will sound different, that they all are different? Because, like I said, I buy multiple sets, and these are so cheap, I actually bought 2 of each, just for the sake of it. Okay? And that, what you see there, ladies and gentlemen, is the graph of all of these 4. They are exactly the same. So, let me just start here at the beginning. Okay? I'm going to take all the graphs out so you can actually see them properly. So, that's the graph for the ZX2, which is this one. Okay? That's the graph for the ZX2. Which, by the way, if you remember the graph I just showed you a second ago of the VK42021, is exactly the same. So then let's launch the ZXT. Actually, the ZXT was the first one, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, it's irrelevant. ZXT, same thing. A little bit of a roll off there in the base. Honestly, I think it's just unit related, nothing else. Then let's launch the ZX3, which is kind of an EDX Pro lookalike. And lo and behold, the same thing. I mean, it's exactly the same. And then, well, let's launch the ZAS lookalike. Okay, and voila. Hold on, it's again the same. Seriously, I mean, seriously, are they for real? Or is QKZ doing this as an intentional thing, okay? Or do they honestly think that we are somehow unable to pick up on this eventually? Is this a marketing strategy to have multiple products to try and sell more? What is it? I just don't understand, because the reality at the end of the day, this is very simple. I am fortunate enough to be able to have the financial capacity, within certain limits obviously, to be able to purchase all of these IEMs and to try them out and then convey my experience to the rest of you. But there are many people out there that do not have that kind of luck, that they do not have the luck to have $10-15 readily available to just spend on an IEM. And it's very frustrating to go out and buy, let's say, this one, and then this one comes out and you kind of sold the idea that this one is better, and then this one comes out and, oh no, this one is better, and oh no, maybe this one is better, or maybe it's just a question of look, or what it is. But it's wrong. It's morally wrong, period. You don't do that. I mean, Chi-Fi is already known for being very volatile, in the sense that they will launch a product now, and some of us, or those of us which are on a budget, will think, oh, okay, now I'm just gonna buy now this Moondrop Aria, and I'm not saying the Moondrop Aria is an example, because it isn't. I'm gonna buy this Moondrop Aria, and now it's gonna last me at least a year or year and a half before they actually substitute it. And Moondrop actually works like that. They launch a product, and that product stays quite a while in the market. And when we talk about Moondrop, we talk about other brands, Tin-I-Fi to a certain extent as well. That the more, let's put it, the more solidified brands. But these cheaper brands, they carry on doing this, and it's really very frustrating. And it honestly annoys me, because, like I said, I am lucky to be able to do this and to transmit this to all of you in general, so that you don't get caught in this marketing strategy. Because I was caught on this strategy many years ago, when I didn't know best, and I saw an IEM and I said, oh, I saw whatever it was I want to buy it, and then another one came out and I said, oh, hold on, maybe that one is better, let me get that one. And to my disappointment, it was basically the same thing. So it got to a point where I just said to myself, no, I'm not gonna, if I have the ability to do something about it, I'm not gonna let people carry on being swindled, let's put it that way. And honestly, I don't care if some of you might think that I'm exaggerating. I really don't. This is just my opinion. I don't think this is a correct attitude to have by any brand. Come on, if QKZ was able to have such a good product like the VK4, improve on that. Give us something, even if it's slightly more expensive, give us something that will say, oh wow, this is really nice. And you know what, I'll actually show you something. They actually do have a product which isn't half. Oh no, I don't have it here with me. Sorry. They actually do have a set of IEMs which actually isn't too bad. It's an all-metal IEM that they have, which you know what? Give me a second. Give me a second. Here we go. I'm back. Here's the set that I'm talking about that actually isn't bad, which is the SK10. Okay, it's a set which is a fixed cable set, as you can see, and you know what? It brings a nice metal shell, fixed cable, which could have been not fixed cable. The tuning on this thing, funny enough, is actually not bad. In my opinion, superior to the tuning of the other drivers that I just showed you. It uses a 9.2mm driver as opposed to a 10mm like they say on the packaging, however. But anyway, that set, the SK10, which is about $8-10 as well, that set is actually decent. It is actually a genuinely decent set. Why didn't QKZ pick up on that set, really spend a little bit of time in tuning it a little bit better, and launch something nice, something that we could say, oh wow, here is an improvement over the VK4. I mean, if KZ and can do that, and I mean the CRA is the perfect example. I'm sure that QKZ, which I could be wrong, but there's so much resemblance to KZ that I might not be saying a lie when I say that it's probably even made by KZ for QKZ. They can actually launch something a little bit nicer. Come on, people, seriously. Anyway, back to this review rant, whatever you want to call it. I graphed them all. It speaks for itself. And then, you know what, I'm actually going to take most of them out so that we can see better what I'm about to show you now, which is, I'm just going to leave the one graph, which is one corresponding to the ZX2, ZAX2R on there, and I'm just going to add the graph of the EDX Pro, okay? And there we go. So the red is the graph of the QKZ, and the blue line, if you can, let me just try and see if I can actually zoom this in slightly better. There we go. That's much hold on, there we go, much better there. Okay, so the red line, as you can see, is the one of the QKZ. The blue line is the EDX. The EDX, as we know, speaks for itself, and I think the biggest secret of the EDX, and I'm sure that the driver is the same, I'm almost positive. The biggest secret of the EDX is the fact that that mid-bass bloat that you see there has been very well controlled, and so it gives us a very nice overall engaging fun sound. Some people prefer the original EDX to the EDX Pro. I think that the EDX Pro has more potential, and I've shown a video where you actually do a filter change on the nozzle, and you change it for a Tanstrom Tanya vent filter, nozzle filter, sorry, and it becomes a really nice set with a really nice tuning. You're able to control better those peaks and everything. And based on that premise, that is exactly what I did with the QKZ. And I actually took a ZXT, okay, which has got that graph basically that you see there, and I played around with it. And you know what? I actually was able to make it exactly the same as the EDX Pro. So I took a basically, I don't know, I'm not even going to call it boring or just a rough tuning. I took a rough tuning of a set which when you hear it next to an EDX Pro, you might like the extra mid bass, but honestly no. But I took that, I adjusted it slightly, and I made it into a set which is basically a modified EDX Pro. I actually can show you here so you guys can see what I mean. 1 second, QKZ, what it is, here we go. Okay, so we're talking about this green line here, which I'm now just going to try and center it with the other ones. There we go. Let's see if I can maybe, I'm going to try my best to. Okay, so as you can see, by modifying any one of those 4 sets that I've shown you here, any one of these 4 sets, and you have to be willing to modify it. You modify it and you basically end up with a bass curve like the EDX Pro. You lower this area of 2-3K a little bit so it's not as shouty or as aggressive or as forward in the vocals, let's put it that way rather. You still maintain that peak there at 4.5, but it's now been much more subdued. The peak at 8K has been subdued, and as well, and most importantly, the peaks past 10K have come down significantly. And that, my friends, let me tell you something, that sounds really, really nice. That basically sounds like a modified EDX Pro, which I can also show you so you can see. I'll just leave those 2 graphs on there. So let me take out. Okay, so that's okay. Open KZ EDX Pro. Where is it? There we go. Okay, and just match them up nicely. And there we go. Okay. Oops, sorry about that. So as you can see, the differences that you see back there at the end are basically because of the positioning of the coupler with regards to tip. It's basically the same. The EDX Pro, however, for some reason, doing the same thing that I did on the QKZ, it actually is even lower. I've actually been able to lower it more in terms of that 4 or 5k peak area. I've been able to lower it a little bit more, as well as the post 10k and 8k peak as well. I've brought all of that down even lower. But otherwise, it's that, or the QKZ, like I did that alteration to. They both sound very nice. They both have a much more interesting tune, a tune that would have been way more sensible in my opinion, and would have made all the sense for me to have launched that, and maybe give people an option to the VK4, or a viable substitute to the VK4, the original one. But no, they prefer to launch then just 4 models, all with the same tuning, all sounding the same, just being boom boxes with all these peaks that once you crank it up a little bit more, they'll try to kill you. And I just honestly just don't see the point. Anyway, that's basically it. I'm not going to get into details of how soundstage and imaging and all of that stuff is. There's just no need. I mean, honestly, to cut a very long story short, it's this: if you already have them, and if you want to modify them, or if you want to try to modify them and make them more sensible, I'll be more than happy to make a video on showing you how to do it. Just send me a video, send me a message, and I'll do that. If you don't have them, and if you're going to be purchasing something around that price, you know what, either get a EDX Pro, or get a CRA, or get even an EDS, the KZ EDS, the CCA CRA, or then the KZ EDX Pro. Those are the only ones that are really worthwhile getting and spending your money on, especially when they cost basically the same thing as any one of these products here. And as for QKZ, I don't know. I just don't know. I don't understand what their whole philosophy is. I can't understand. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this little review of mine, and I'll speak to you soon. Thank you. Take care. Bye bye.